Hi, I'm Kelly Hensel with the Institute of Food Technologists. On March 28th and 29th, IFT will be holding its annual wellness conference in Rosemont, Illinois, offering attendees emerging trends and perspectives on the health and wellness sector. Today, we are joined by Linda Eatherton, Partner and Director of Global Food and Nutrition Practice at Ketchum, who will be speaking at the conference's closing session about what consumers around the world will want from food companies in the year 2020. Welcome, Linda.
Thank you so much. It's good to be with you today.
So at the wellness closing session, I know you're going to be sharing with the attendees some results from the survey that Ketchum conducted in September 2008 and then again in July 2011. Can you just tell us a little bit more about the survey and what Ketchum was hoping to learn from it?
We entered into this research in 2008 because what we were seeing was such a tidal wave shift in the way consumers and brands and businesses related to each other, largely being driven by social media, not entirely and solely by social media. But what was happening was social media was empowering the consumer to take such a strong role in branding and in businesses that it struck us that if this is the way the future is going, what will happen 5, 10, 15, 20 years from now if they continue to gain control? What will our food industry look like? And so we struck out to do the research in 2008 to ask that very set of questions to consumers in 5 different parts of the world. We repeated it again in 2011. And there have been some shifts, but the premise is still true that the consumer population believes it has far more control than we believe it does, and they believe they deserve more control over what food companies and the food industry do with the foods that we bring to market for them. So it's quite an interesting situation.
Now, I know you surveyed 5 different countries. How did healthfulness of products, especially, developing countries and not developing countries, how did that rank?
Well, this is one of those underlying values that is common across all 5 countries. And by the way, the regions of the world were the U.S., the UK, Argentina, China, and Germany. So we took those 5 regions and replicated them. And as I said earlier, healthfulness was one of those core values that simply was a non-negotiable.
And it didn't change much from 2008?
It did not.
Okay,
and I think what is really interesting is that the concept of healthfulness, and I think IFT in particular understands this better than anybody else, it is a big, broad category.
Right.
It has only in part, has anything to do with nutrition. Healthfulness in the minds of these consumers is a broad category of values and value statements that exist that say this product is right for me, right for my family, right for my planet, and it's doing the right things. So that's a lot loaded into the word healthfulness. Yeah. It's really more, as our friends around the world call, well-being.
Right.
It's an estimate of well-being.
I know that in addition to putting more responsibility on the food companies, consumers are also expecting to have a bigger say themselves in determining product ingredients, quality of ingredients that go into their food products. How can companies involve consumers in the development process, or is that even possible?
Well, it's funny because at first blush, my friends and neighbors in the food industry are going to say, excuse me, we always involve consumers. We survey them like crazy. We don't do anything without touching base with our consumers to find out if this is what they want and what they need. That really isn't the sentiment they're expressing. What they're saying is, I want to be your partner. I want to be your colleague in designing how you bring products to market, where you source your ingredients, how you behave as a company. And that is a pretty radical step, pretty bold, and yet not as far-fetched as you would think. If you take that logic out, what they're saying is, for example, I don't want to be surveyed after your R&D center has come up with 3 concept products.
Right.
I want to sit down at the table with R&D and design the concept products. Now, again, you could say that's a ridiculous thought, and there's no company in the world that would do that. Well, yet General Mills proved that that was not only possible, but has been doing it for several years. And I think that's the transformation that you're seeing here.
What do you think the number one thing food companies need to do differently in 2020 in order to succeed?
I think that it boils down to a very simple statement, that we have long seen food marketing and successful food marketers make their successes are on the backs of products that provided real value to the consumer. I think what's different and radically different is that is no longer enough. And tomorrow's successes will be successful if they are both demonstrating a value to the consumer, but are also clearly and transparently demonstrating and behaving that they have shared values with the consumers that they're trying to reach. And that is the key to success in the future.
Well, Linda, I want to thank you very much for your time and insight today. We have been talking to Ketchum's Linda Eatherton, who will be a speaker at the Wellness 12 conference. Please feel free to share your thoughts on today's topic by commenting on IFT's ePerspective blog. And for more information and to register for Wellness 12, check out ift.org/wellness. For the Institute of Food Technologists, I'm Kelly Hensel.